So earlier we had bipolar devices, later we had unipolar devices. So unipolar meant for current flow happens only due to majority carriers. So unipolar devices are found to be a suitable choice for IC implementation, right? So Professor Kilby from Texas Instruments, he has invented the monolithic circuit, right? Then you can see the photograph of Professor Kilby. He has invented the first integrated circuit chip. So, integrated circuit chip, we have small scale integration, medium scale integration, as well as large scale integration. So, for integration means we are packing several number of transistors inside a single silicon chip. For example, if I take one chip, if I take one IC chip, I can have 10, let us say 100 number of transistors. That we call it as small scale integration. Suppose if I pack 1 million number of transistors inside the single integrated circuit chip, I can call that as large scale integration. As well as if we increase the number of transistors, we can have very large scale integration devices. So, as the year grows, the transistors packed inside the integrated circuit chip also increases. That you can be able to notice here. In the year 1950, we have only one transistor in the chip. In the year 1960, we had 16 number of transistors were packed inside the single chip. And in the year 1970, we had 4,500 number of transistors. Now you can see around 2000, we have several hundred lakhs of transistors have been packed. So, because of this progressive increment in the number of transistor package, we can come to know that as the year grows, transistor density also increases. So that was mathematically indicated by Professor Moore, right? So that we call it as Moore's law. Gordon Moore's law. I think recently February 2004, 24 years passed away, right? So the transistor density doubles every 1.5 years or 2 years. That is what Moore's law says. So, as a VLSI person or a circuit person, he or she should remember the Moore's law. Without Moore's law, the IC industry will not evolve. So, Moore's law is a very famous as well as fundamental law for implementing any IC device. So, of course, you all know the previous year as well as later years we had development in the IC integration. Now, the applications I have already emphasized. Now, you can also be able to notice some of the applications. Radio as well as television broadcasting, multi-channel communication, video signal amplification, as well as long-distance wireless communication, automobiles, embedded systems, medical signal processing, as well as signal processing industry-based design. Now, recently, you also familiar with IoT devices, AI development, so everything we can use our FPGA board as well as ASIC board. So, if we come to integrated circuits, the major component that we consider is MOSFET. So, MOSFET, we have two kinds basically. One is N MOSFET, another is P channel MOSFET. So, compared to single channel MOSFET, let's say N channel or P channel, we do prefer C MOSFET, complementary metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistors. We have several things which includes, it can be analog CMOS or it can be digital implementation, digital CMOS. When we talk about analog CMOS, we have single stage, multi-stage amplifier design, differential amplifiers, current mirrors, operational amplifiers, oscillators, phase lock loops. These are some of the examples wherein we can implement CMOS analog circuits. Whereas if you take digital CMOS circuits, inverters, combination logic circuits, sequential logic circuits, then arithmetic blocks, memory and array structure. If you look at any IC, we need these things. Combination logic system, sequential logic circuits, all of them are needed depending on our requirement. So these are some of the examples which denotes the implementation of integrated circuits in different environments. Now, let us see some of the leading examples. One is Intel Pentium 4 processor. Intel Pentium 4 processor, you could notice that 55 million transistors it has. It has 55 million transistors. We are simply keeping computer as well as CPU. But you know, inside the CPU we have a processor, Intel Pentium processor, right, or IBM processor. Every processor will have IC chip. So 55 million transistors are present. And this particular version of a transistor system, we have the clock speed of about 2.4 gigahertz. 2.4 gigahertz. Now, yet another example you can notice here, it is an IBM microprocessor which involves 47 million number of transistors, and of course it utilizes copper interconnect for fabricating the IC. So, now, always whatever thing we study, we have to analyze in terms of some of the performance parameters. So, if you look at some of the literature papers only few years have been listed here. So, notice 2002 to 2014. Now we are at 2024, we are at 3 nanometer technology. So, 2002 technology node here is 130 nanometer. 130 nanometer, and 2005 it is 100 nanometer, and 2014 you could see it is 35 nanometer. So, when the year increases, the technology node that we are using for implementing IC comes down. Right now, we are talking, researchers are doing with 3 nanometer technology as well as 7 nanometer technology. And so, this major inference here is when the year increases, technology becomes reduced. Technology node becomes reduced. So, the same table we can analyze in terms of density, transistor density, number of transistors. You see here, 2002, inside the IC 400 mega number of transistors have been tracked, and 2014 it is around 16 billion number of transistors. So, as per Moore's law, the number of transistors packed inside the integrated chip have been increased. Now, at the same time, you could also notice the DRAM capacity, the storage capacity. DRAM capacity, here we need only 2 gigabits, and as the year grows, you can see it is 200 gigabits of information, because you are packing more and more number of transistors. Of course, in order to store information, you need more number of bits. Therefore, DRAM capacity shall also increase. So, always, all is not roses. I want everything good thing in my life. That is not at all possible. Sometimes that may happen. Right? So, we have to compensate. Everything will happen in our life. So, now you look at the clock frequency analysis. The clock frequency, 2002, it has been taken as reference as 1.6 gigahertz, and now it has been 3.5 gigahertz. At most, now we have reached beyond, we have reached in terms of terahertz. So, once again, the clock frequencies depends on the board, FPGA board or ASIC board that we are using. So, yet another parameter, if you notice, we have a supply voltage. So, supply voltage, once again, earlier we have 1.54 and 0.64 volt is used. So, mainly supply voltage decides the supply voltage is one of the parameters that decides the dynamic power. That decides the dynamic power, because we calculate two kind of power in any logic circuit power dissipation calculation. One power is a static power, another power is a dynamic power. Static power won't change, whereas dynamic power, we know the very important formula. Dynamic power is CV square F. Capacitance into voltage square into switching frequency or operating frequency, CV square F. So, the power is directly proportional to capacitance, power is directly proportional to frequency, as well as power shall also be directly proportional to F. Supply voltage. So, when the supply voltage here for 1.5 volt, power dissipation is 130 watts, and 0.6 volt power dissipation is 180 watts. So, although we are reducing the supply voltage, reducing the supply voltage, the power dissipation you can see, power dissipation is higher. So, if whatever power is understandable, that we can make for our design. Some of the power reduction approaches also available. Still, researchers are doing a wonderful job in reducing the power in the integrated circuits. So, integrated circuit chips, as I mentioned earlier, we are, now the test chip has been produced in 3 nanometer technology, and one important thing you have to observe is, whenever the technology node has been reduced, the cost of implementing the corresponding technology will also drastically increase. For example, considering 28 nanometer technology, this 7 nanometer technology is 9 times higher. 9 times higher. As the technology moves down and down again, the cost of implementing the corresponding IC is very high. So, next thing is, what are the major effects present in IC development? So, we have some certain difficulties in the nanoscale regime. So, one possible difficulty is increased leakage current and large subthreshold voltage swing and low switching speed, short channel effects, low reliability. Of course, these are the major issues when we deal with the transistors. Transistors in different technology nodes. And the possible solutions are, we can prefer FinFET, and we can also go with tunnel field effect transistor using tunneling phenomenon. Then junctionless transistors also we can use. Then we can also use CNT FET, carbon nanotube transistors, as well as nanowire field effect transistors. However, every implementation have certain pros as well as cons. So, some of the emerging issues, you can see we have to have optimal power consumption, then memory bandwidth should be higher, latency should be lesser, transistor variability we have to adopt, then novel power as well as thermal management scheme we have to adopt, multiprocessor system and chip design we have to evolve, and reconfigurable logic also we have to adopt in our design. And of course, the design for verification as well as testing should be incorporated in the system that we propose. So these are the issues, whatever design we propose, the design should satisfy these issues. So, innovation should be made on scalability, reusability, reliable system architecture, as well as deployment, as well as integration at any field. And on-chip interconnection should also be possible. Memory hierarchy scheme should also be emphasized. And improvement in architecture, there are several architectures. Here I have listed only few of the architectures. One is algorithmic strength reduction. Algorithmic strength reduction means, simple example, if you take a filter. Any filter, normal FIR filter you know. FIR filter, direct form 1 you have. Direct form realization, transpose form realization. So any FIR filter architecture if you look at, we have adder, we have multiplier, we have delayer. These are the main 3 parameters. So, if you propose an innovative idea, it will reduce the number of adders and number of multipliers, then that is also called as algorithmic strength reduction. So, algorithmic strength reduction means the complexity or hardware or resource used in the particular architecture can be minimized by proposing the algorithm. So, in specific, in digital VLSI, if you talk about, the algorithmic strength reduction, we can go with so-called Cook-Tomb algorithm, modified Cook-Tomb algorithm, Vinograd algorithm. So, several algorithms are available. Considering simple FIR filter, normal or conventional direct form FIR filter, let us say if I have 2 multipliers and 2 adders, of course 3 multipliers, 2 adders is needed, right? 3 multipliers and 2 adders, let us assume 3-tap FIR filter. 3-tap FIR filter, we need 3 multipliers and 2 adders. Of course, we have delays also, right? So, longest path if you take, the longest path case, you will have 1 multiplier as well as 2 adders. Critical path is the longest path with no delays. right? So one multiplier and two adders will be present for conventional FIR filter. So the same thing if you take the direct, the transposed form or a canonical form of a FIR filter, you will have only one multiplier and one adder. So I am just taking example of 3-top FIR filter. 3-top FIR filter, right? 3-top FIR filter, the critical path timing is 1 multiplier and 2 adder. Whereas for transposed form FIR filter, critical path timing is 1 multiplier time as well as 1 adder time. So 1 adder time will be reduced. So 1 adder time reduced means time reduced means automatically speed gets increased because time and frequencies are inversely proportional to each other. So when examining with the direct form filter, the transposed form filter becomes better in terms of speed. So if you take yet another example, simple thing you take, unit impulse function. Unit impulse function at del equal to 0 we have 1. Del less than 0 and del greater than 0, what is the value? I am talking about just unit impulse function. Unit impulse function at del equal to 0 we have 1. Del less than 0 as that is n. We know we have only value at n equal to 0. Unit impulse function we have only value at n equal to 0. So when you take n equal to n is a time index. So when you take frequency domain is 1 by t. So 1 by 0 is what? Infinity. So it is a complete spectrum. It covers from minus infinity to plus infinity. Wide spectrum will be present when we go for frequency domain version of a unit impulse function. Right? So these are the interpretation you have to learn because as a student, some of you are students I hope. So as a students, whenever you study some of the mathematical concepts or some of the algorithms, you have to infer what is happening in the corresponding design. You have to infer. Right, so algorithmic strength reduction means reducing complexity or the hardware architecture. Then we can go for dynamically varying coefficient based approach. Of course, we have the so-called adaptive filtering architecture is available, wherein we dynamically vary the coefficient. And recently, some of the research papers, if you look at, approximation based DA is also evolved. Approximation means the coefficient, suppose you feel the coefficient is very big, then what you can do is you can go with the truncation or rounding approach so that you can minimize the word length of the coefficient that will be given to your design. Right? So that are those ways you can also proceed. So dynamically varying coefficients, then coefficient optimization algorithms, retimed as well as pipeline architectures, reconfigurable architectures, adaptive architectures, generalized pipeline architecture. Generalized means any filter order if you put, you can able to check. And bit level arithmetic architecture. These are the architectures by which we can do improvement in our design. And innovations where earlier we have seen the MOSFET, then we have discussed about FET. Now you can see that new innovations are needed in terms of device structures. So device structures you can see the two innovations, one is SOI, silicon on insulator, another is FinFET. So main objective of these two designers, they will induce or they will increase the capacitance as well as they will minimize the drain to channel capacitance so that they will have better control over the gate. Right? Gate will have a full control over the channel which will be accomplished by SOI as well as FinFET devices. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are shrinking the technology node again and again as the year progresses. Now, TSMC, TSMC in the year they have produced the 60 nanometer FinFET technology. TSMC, what is the abbreviation of TSMC? Anyone? Abbreviation of TSMC? Abbreviation of TSMC? So this is a Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, right? TSMC, because you can notice that TSMC series for synthesizing your result. Taking result, TSMC will be mentioned, right? So TSMC is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. They have announced that they have produced a fully functional ARM-based networking processor that incorporates in 60 nanometer technology. And of course, another company, ST Microelectronics, they have used the concept of fully depleted SOI chip in the year 2012. And some of the companies, if you look at IBM as well as Global Foundries, Samsung, they are also the leaders for implementing such technologies. So apart from FinFET as well as SOI, so when compared to conventional design, FinFET and SOI are suitable choice because they have better control over the gate. But when the technology node reduces again and again we have a problem, leakage problem. So to solve leakage problem, we have to once again go with the optimal circuits, optimal design. So the design should emphasize or address these issues: flattening, increase in power density, thermal dissipation. So everything should be addressed by the design that we propose, right? So of course we have to check the design rules also. So in addition, the suitable choice we can say metallic, that is CNT FET. Metallic carbon nanotube is also one suitable choice which will take care of all the deep nanometer scale problems. Then apart from that, we also have one thing called gate all around nanowire. So these are some of the FETs which will address the issues present in conventional mask designs. So Samsung, you can see 10 nanometer FinFET technology they have planned. And of course TSMC, they have produced 7 nanometer technology. Intel also developed 10 nanometer production in the year 2017. So of course Global Foundries also they are implementing in terms of 7 nanometer technology. So every company, every industry, they are producing their own integrated circuit. And when you look at, we have one forum called Semiconductor Industry Association. So this semiconductor industry, SIA, announced that in the year 2018, we have sold the semiconductor for about you can see $468.8 billion. So when compared to 2017 sales, 13.7% has been increased in the year 2018. Only at 13.7% increase. So which means that for every application, day-to-day life application, we need more and more number of semiconductors. For example, for developing image processing system, or to construct any medical equipment, to manufacture any car braking or car system, we need our electronic gadgets. Inside electronic gadgets, we are using integrated circuit chip. It could be a FPGA board or it could be a ASIC board. So most of the design industry trends, you can see portable, wearable as well as powerful devices, we use these kind of integrated circuits. Now processing elements can also be used in embedded system. You can see microcontroller, it is used. General purpose processor is also used. DSP processor are also used. In addition to that, we are also having FPGA as well as ASIC. So FPGA is meant for good processing power, longer development time, medium cost as well as lower power consumption. Of course, we do use ASIC design. ASIC design we can use for achieving high processing power, very low power dissipation, expansive at low volume as well as long development time also. So depending on our requirement, either we could go with the FPGA or we could go with the ASIC design. So these boards are supporting our embedded system also. So any design we do, we have to check the metrics. So metrics wise, if we check, the first thing is we have whether the goal is achieved or not. That is, an implementation with the desired functionality is achieved or not, that we have to check, right? For example, you are designing one multiplier. Multiplier 8 into 4, you know it is 32. Instead of 32, suppose your code is running without any mistake, but instead of 32, it is giving only 20. So that will be error. It is not functioning properly. So you have to once again check your code. In terms of Verilog code, I am saying. Right? So the functionality we have to check. And then key design challenges, simultaneously optimize numerous design metrics. Optimization means In terms of performance parameters like area, power, delay, we have to optimize. Then design metrics should be measurable feature of a system implementation. This is a very key challenging. So yet another metrics if we consider time to prototype, then time to market, upon invention and upon deploying the product into the market, then maintaining the product even after its initial release, right? Then correctness, safety, everything we have to ensure once you design such a systems. So the metrics we have power, size, performance, non-recurring cost, everything you have to consider. Of course, they are not directly proportional to each other, because if you increase the power, it may degrade the other performance, right? Always there is a trade-off. So whatever you design, in order to compensate or in order to achieve acceptable optimum result, you have to design. So these are the issues: unit cost, NRE cost, size, performance, power and flexibility. These are the some of the common metrics that we need to focus when we design the circuit chip. And of course, automobiles also we are using the circuit chip, and electronic gas, electronic brake, electronic steering. Most of the car parts are also made up in terms of our electronics. And automobiles, if you look at this Opel Vectra version, employs 40 sensors. 40 sensors, they fall into 25 types, right? And embedded systems, we have embedded systems are everywhere. And of course, we use microprocessors, we also use microcontroller. You can look at the photograph here in this graph. In this figure, you can notice we have microcontroller, we have input-output ports, of course we have ADC, DAC, everything is incorporated inside one embedded system. So wherever we require, we can replace with our integrated circuit chip. Either it could be a FPGA, or if I want one specific application, I could use ASIC. So embedded based software development also involves several hardware as well as software implementation. Then you can see for SDRAM, then memory interface, I2C, so all kind of interfacing to maintain complete system on a chip. You can go with several methods. So SOC, system on chip, that is not only image processing application, not only microprocessor application, not only medical applications, any applications we can go with the system on chip. So when you consider system on chip, one particular example here, we have 1 gigabit DRAM, and it also have 500 kilo gates FPGA. So wherever if you look at, we are exploring our integrated circuit chip. And a future of embedded systems may be of embedded systems plus internet, mobile devices, cloud computing, as well as artificial intelligence that will create a complete smart environment. And in addition to that, if you look at the GDP rate, IoT forecast, so approximately $724.2 billion in the year 2023. 2015 you can notice it is 598, 2023 it is 724. So CAGR rate is 13.2%. Common annual growth rate of the market is 13.2%. So our ASIC, FPGA ASIC design is one of the platform which will play a main role in all kind of application, including cloud computing, grid computing, then pervasive computing, ubiquitous computing, right? Artificial intelligence, ML, everywhere we can use our FPGA or ASIC. So let's go with how the ASIC design proceed. So ASIC design, historical perspective if you consider, so first part is electronics. We have discussed about what is electronics, how it has been evolved, and what is the current trend. That all those things we have discussed. Now as a second part, I am talking about ASIC design. So ASIC design, initially, as I mentioned, initially we had electronic circuits, where we have active as well as passive components. Whatever we see in the laboratory, resistor, capacitors are called as passive components. Simple transistor BC107, BC547, BFW10. What is BFW10? Any idea BFW10? Laboratory you might have used. At least BC107.